Good afternoon. It's DrGlenn, your WordPress security fanatic. Today we're going to talk about the security features that are built into the WP Toolkit and how you can use them when you set up your account. So let me just share my screen so you can see what I see. We'll jump right into it. So WP Toolkit is a tool that's been around for a little while. Now it's free with Web Host Manager with cPanel software. And it's just like anything else, there are web hosts out there in the world that are charging money for some of the features of this thing, which just makes me sick. They did that with the SSL certificates. Remember when SSL everybody got free SSL certificates, and then the hosts continued to charge money for them, and some of them still do. I just know that WP Toolkit is a tool that is free. It comes with cPanel, and so if you're leasing a server with cPanel and it's locked down or anything, tell your host it's free. You should be getting it. If you host with InstantAccess.net, my hosting company, of course it's free. So first thing that we're going to do is let's see here. I have this new domain, fanaticalhosting.com, just nothing on it right now. So first thing that we're going to do before I show you this is install a new copy of WP Toolkit. So my server's pretty fast. Don't worry, it's not going to take too long to do this. We'll just use all the default settings here and get this going. It'll just take a few seconds to install the entire WordPress, and then what I'll do is I'll show you how to make some quick changes which will be necessary every time. Now this isn't only for new installs. You can make these changes on your existing site as well. Just go to your cPanel account, wherever you do business, and look under the domain section is where it's put just almost every time. And just click the link and it'll take you to the to that instance. Okay. Once you've installed it, you're going to click the scan button so that the WordPress is discovered in your system. And you'll also now there's a couple things here that I'm going to do, but for further information, you need to know that you can use this area to log in. So when you want to log into the new WordPress that you made, you can click that login button and it will go ahead and just log you in. And this is a really nice feature to have. Some of the hosts have a nice one-click login dealio, but just remember that those come with caveats, right? So what I mean by that is your host has a one-click login, but that means that anybody that at your host can one-click login to your account. And some hosts are mitts off like we are. We just don't mess around in your account, but other ones are constantly going and looking around and doing stuff. So just I'll just leave it there. Maybe you don't want your host to be able to one-click login. So now it asks, do you want to install some different plugins or not? And if you say yeah, it'll display sort of the most common ones that are in there. And you can even adjust your themes. And so you can see this tool is pretty slick in terms of new setups. You can do what you need to do. When you click the login, it like I showed you before, it does take you into the site, which is really, really nice. All right, so let's get back to the security side of things, since that is where we are. In the WP admin, we already have an out-of-date plugin here. And so that was just the latest install of WordPress. Comes pre-packaged with these, and this one has been updated since that. And so when you install a brand new package, it's oddly already out of date. So what you'll do here is you can go to plugins, and you can see them, and you can click on them to update. Here's the one that has the updates link. This one doesn't because it's already up to date. And do know that you can turn plugins on and off. in this tool, and you can also change them to auto update, which is very nice, right? So if you want to do that. So let's say that you're having trouble logging into your account, you're getting that dreaded 500 error and you're trying to figure out what's going on. You can still get into your web host manager, into your cPanel area. So since you're in there, you can deactivate your plugins this way. It's kind of nice. Now, in my other videos, what I show you is how to use the file manager to rename the plugin directory. If it's possible, this is another option. You can just go to the tool and deactivate the plugins that way, provided that there's not some error that's locking everything up. The file manager tool is still probably the best way to just do it. So in any event, we'll go ahead and click on here and we'll do the update and let that happen. And then you can see clearly that it is a useful tool in that regard. Now, one of the problems with these things is you with some hosts, you get in here and you start poking around, and suddenly you'll run into a screen that says you've discovered a paid version of this program. And so what they've done is they've locked it down. Oh man, that's disgusting to me. It's free to them. It doesn't cost them anything, and yet they won't just let you use it for the agreed price that you have been paying for your hosting account. It's disgusting, but I digress. Here's the security tab. So you click on the security tab. This is the stuff that DrGlenn is most interested in. So you can see the WordPress core here has a vulnerability. All of them do right now. The latest version of WordPress has a security vulnerability. And so when you click on security measures, you can see what are some of the things that are recommended here. Now, what I would like to do here is go ahead and mitigate this particular WordPress core issue. So if you click on the details, it'll take this screen, it'll open the screen for you, and you can see that there's no update available. So you can't update your way out of this trouble. But this particular, by the way, let me just say that while theoretically it is vulnerable, I am not seeing the latest version of WordPress being hacked. It is an issue that arises in theory, but in practice, I don't see it in the wild. So don't panic. But you can patch it. So you go ahead and you click on mitigate, and it says these are the two things that it suggests that you do, and you just go ahead and check these, and it will make those changes for you, and it'll mitigate. So this will change to mitigate it in a moment when it's done making the changes. Now on your server, this might take 5 minutes or something. My servers are particularly fast. So if yours takes longer, don't imagine immediately that there's something wrong. Just give it time, and eventually you'll see the language here change to mitigated. Now, if you've used my services or watched my videos, you know I put in security hardening codes when I fix hacked websites. This tool has a good 70% of the codes that I put in automatically applied. So what you do, I mean, it's just this simple. You don't even have to, these are all legitimate. So just click the button and check them all and say secure it. And it will go ahead and go through here and slowly make changes to all of your settings in the WordPress and lock everything down. And so it's nice when you see all green check marks here, you are definitely in the right direction. So you don't have it restricts access to the files and directories. It even changes the WordPress database table from the default if you had that in there, and does a lot of the things that I do. So this is a great tool. It's not going to put me out of business, but it does a great job for what it does. And you're way better off doing this than doing nothing. Incidentally, if your site's been hacked, reach out to me. I'm here to help. you can get me at fixmyhackedwebsite.com. Okay, so where are we at here? We're going to rescan and see what it is telling us. It should, we still have this WordPress core issue. It's not going to give us a green light because it still exists. It's mitigated, but it exists. It's patched, but the version is a problem, right? We also have all the security measures up to date here, so we're in great shape as far as that goes. In this area, if you click rescan, it'll check and see that everything is all right. Now, I'm going to say something here as far as fixing hacked websites, and I want you to listen carefully at how gingerly I put this, because it is not a real fix, okay? But let's say that somebody's hacked into your website, you're having trouble getting in, and you need to kind of start getting things under control, and you're one of those self-help type of people. You want to do this yourself. Well, they do have this tool down here that says check the WordPress integrity. So what it does is verifies the checksums, or verifies the core files against the core files for your version of WordPress. That is to say, there are files that exist in the repository for WordPress, and it checks your files against those to see if it works. Now, again, if you go to click this and you don't see an immediate result, it's because my server's really fast, and your server may take a long time. But just understand that my server did do what it's supposed to do. This isn't trickery. Yours just might take a little longer. Trust the process. Give it enough time to check all those files, okay? If, in fact, you don't get the green checkbox, but it says there's a bunch of nonsense going on, you can click reinstall the WordPress core. And what it'll do is it'll actually go to WordPress, download all new core files, fresh core files for your account. And that's what my server is doing right now. And then it'll go ahead and install all the fresh core files. And it does take some time, of course, depending upon how busy the WordPress server repository is. Sometimes the downloads take a long time, and sometimes they happen pretty quick. But you get the gist. So in general, if you're locked out of your site, or you have redirections going on and things like that, sometimes this will fix the issue. Rarely, I think, with today's viruses will this just be 100% effective, but it'll get you back in there so you can see what's going on a lot of times. I definitely see this as a benefit, especially to the casual user who doesn't do this every day. You can at least get the core files fixed. Now, that often means that there's another problem. I mean, it wasn't the core file that was compromised, right? Your core file didn't get hacked. Something else got hacked and corrupted your core files. So you still have to find what is that other thing that got hacked. You know, how did this happen? But you have to get in there to do that, right? And so this will restore the core function without deleting everything else, and you can get in there and fix things. Okay, so you can change your update settings and so forth, which is an excellent thing to do. You can put your website in maintenance mode. That's pretty nice, actually. You can, of course, add and delete these types of things. Your themes are the same way. If you want to get rid of a theme, you can just hit the trash can button and you can dump it, which is pretty great. The database tool here, it gives you the information that you need so that you can tell, what is the server, what is the port, and so forth. All of that is in here. Now, up here, you can see it still says we have an issue and that the redirect to HTTPS is turned off. Now, this has to do with the cPanel area. cPanel comes with a tool which allows you to force the redirection of HTTPS. Now, I think for most people, go ahead and click on that, right? but which I do. However, I want to say one caveat, and that is that if you are using the universal SSL tool from Cloudflare or some service like Cloudflare in order to provide a firewall or a CDN or something on the front end of your site, you might be breaking the site by doing the SSL redirect locally. So what that means is that, let's use Cloudflare for an example. Cloudflare produces an SSL certificate, which it overlays to your website, and it's expecting that your website isn't going to try and redirect that. And so what you'll end up getting is an error that's called too many redirects, it'll say, and it'll just sort of lock up your site. And so you could get yourself in that boat. So I won't digress into this because it doesn't affect everybody. But if you're using a CDN or you're using Cloudflare, go ahead and change the setting to HTTPS redirect in the tool. And then if you find that your website's not loading, try to load your website in an incognito task or something. And if it's not working, that's going to be the problem. Just go and undo the SSL. I mean, you would think to yourself, how could that be a problem? It really can cause a loop of sorts that prevents your website from doing what it needs to do. Okay, so at some point, you should have a screen that looks like this. And I love this because you can see the WordPress version, you can see if the plugins are up to date and so forth. Again, this is absolutely free with cPanel, which is fantastic. And there is this one more issue here. Now, this week, I worked on a website, and when I logged in, the first thing I noticed, they had two different plugins that had been installed to deal with their cron. And I was very curious about why would they have done that? Because it's hard when you're dealing with hacked websites, when you're working behind the developer or sometimes the owner, sometimes an office assistant that just doesn't know what they're doing. And people are trying to solve their problems. And these cron tools are interesting and sometimes problematic. So I went and I looked at the logs, and oh my goodness, the logs on this account were full of cron issues. And so I just didn't even know where to begin, right? Where does one begin to deal with an issue like that when I've been hired to do security, not development? But I don't want to give the website back to the customer where the error logs are just going to be running and running. So what I did was I noticed that they had this tool running. Now, even the free version, their host actually was one of the hosts that gouged them and tried to charge for this free tool that comes with cPanel. And so some of the tools wouldn't work. I had to manually install all my hardening codes, which, there are a handful of them I have to put in anyway, even after this tool, because it doesn't have them all. But it was, let me just get back to this. So you just click this button here that says take over the WP cron. And so what happens is the cPanel cron takes over the WP cron, and it's pretty neat. One thing that you should know about cron jobs is that the cron job in the software for WordPress is a hook. So it is not activated until somebody literally comes to your site and looks around. And at that point, the hook will check and it'll say, okay, there's activity on the site. When was the last time that these things were done? And it'll go ahead and trigger some stuff. So if you don't have a lot of traffic on your website, or the hooks are malformed, or whatever, cron just won't run, and some cron jobs are very important. So I like the WP Toolkit for that also. The free version that nobody seems to be locking down also has the WordPress external cron activated, and I think it's a good way to manage your WordPress, so I would go ahead and do that. All right, well, that's it for today. I don't think that there's much more to go through. If you see this in your C panel and you're interested to know what is the WP Toolkit and what does it do, it does a lot of cool stuff and it is mostly beneficial. It doesn't do everything. It won't bail you out if you get hacked, but it is a pretty neat tool. And I highly suggest that you learn a little more about it and go ahead and use it. I use it. It's not a crutch, it's a tool. Let's move forward here. Until next time, take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Bye-bye.